Smoke and fire rose from the horizon like dark waves. The city of Zarathis, home of the Zarathi, an alien race of crystal-skinned beings, was under siege. Towering spires, once shining with light, now crumbled under the relentless assault of the Krill, a robotic army that showed no mercy. The Zarathi had fought bravely, but their weapons, elegant and precise, could not match the brutal efficiency of the Krill forces. In the heart of the city, Commander Vera, a tall Zarathi with luminous eyes, stood on the edge of a broken platform. Her hands trembled slightly as she watched the streets burn below. She had sent messages across the stars, begging for help. She had hoped that someone, anyone, would answer. For centuries, the Zarathi had been aware of other civilizations in the galaxy, but they had little contact with the Terrans humans from Earth. To the Zarathi, humans were reckless and unpredictable, sometimes violent, sometimes brilliant. They were a young species, hardly advanced compared to the Zarathi's history of science and exploration. Still, with the Krill closing in, Vera had no choice. "Please, anyone, help us," she whispered into her communicator, her voice breaking. Sparks flew around her as the Krill advanced. Massive robotic walkers stomped through the streets, tearing buildings apart with heavy claws and plasma cannons. The sky above glowed red from fires that devoured everything in their path. Far away, in another part of the galaxy, the signal reached Terran Federation Command. On the bridge of the starship Valor, Captain Marcus Hale received the message. The Terrans were known across the galaxy as fearless warriors, but they were also known for responding to impossible situations. Hale leaned forward in his chair, eyes narrowing. "Commander Hale," said his communications officer, "we just received a distress call from a Zarathi planet. They are under attack by the Krill. They are asking for immediate help." Hale's lips curved into a small, confident smile. "About time," someone asked. "Prepare the Marine Battalion and ready the dropships. We leave in 10 minutes. In the streets of Zarathis, the Krill had reached the central square. Commander Vera looked around desperately. Her army, brave but small, had fought as long as they could. The robotic forces were overwhelming. Then, from the distance, she noticed a strange shadow rising from the smoke. At first, she thought it was another wave of Krill walkers. But as it moved closer, it became clear these were not Krill. Massive dropships emerged from the clouds of smoke. They were sleek and human-designed, bristling with weapons. From their open bays, figures began to descend. They were Terran Marines, clad in powered exosuits that enhanced their strength and agility. Their presence was sudden, almost magical. One moment, the city was on the brink of destruction. The next, hope had arrived. The Krill hesitated. They had never faced humans before, and these new arrivals did not behave like anything they had encountered. The Marines landed amidst the chaos, with precision. They moved fast, cutting down Krill scouts with advanced rifles and explosive charges. One squad, led by Sergeant Elena Cross, charged through the main street. The Marines were loud and aggressive, using tactics that no alien army had ever expected. They worked in small, coordinated units, taking advantage of the terrain in ways that made them almost untouchable. "Focus on the command walkers," Elena shouted through her helmet communicator. Her squad obeyed immediately, launching grenades and coordinating their fire. The Krill's massive machines faltered under the unexpected human strategy. Explosions echoed through the city, shaking the ground and sending debris flying. Vera watched, stunned. Humans were nothing like the Zarathi had imagined. They were chaotic, loud, and fearless. And yet, they were effective. Her hope grew as she saw Marines moving through the burning streets, saving trapped Zarathi citizens and engaging the Krill directly. In the distance, a small Krill squad tried to flank the Marines. Captain Hale noticed it from the dropship's tactical view. Without hesitation, he activated a remote strike. Miniature drones flew out, coordinating with the ground Marines. In moments, the Krill flank was neutralized. On the streets, A young Zarathi engineer, Lyra, was trapped under a fallen spire. She screamed as the Krill advanced. A human Marine, Private Jax Mercer, arrived just in time. With his exosuit strength, he lifted the debris and dragged Lyra to safety. She stared at him, eyes wide. You're human?" she asked, disbelief in her voice. "Yes," Jack said simply. "Now move." The Krill were relentless, but the Terrans fought with precision and creativity. Where the Zarathi had relied on standard weaponry, the humans improvised constantly, using gravity grenades to topple massive walkers, EMP charges to disable robotic squads, and flamethrowers to clear blocked streets. The alien civilians, who had been hiding in fear, began to see a new kind of hope. As the battle raged, Vera approached the human commander. Captain Hale stood calmly amidst the smoke and chaos, directing his Marines with practiced efficiency. Vera could not help but ask, "Why? Why would you risk yourself for us?" Hale looked at her, eyes steady behind his visor. "Because no one should face extinction alone. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves." Vera was silent. She had expected arrogance, perhaps greed, from humans, but instead she found courage and honor. She realized that perhaps the Terrans were not just another young race, they were something different, something extraordinary. By the end of the first day, the Marines had cleared a significant portion of the city. The Krill, for the first time, began to retreat. It was not a full victory, the war was far from over, but it was a start. The Zarathi had been given a chance to survive. At night, as fires still burned in the city, the Terran Marines set up temporary defenses. Soldiers moved among the Zarathi citizens, offering aid, checking for injuries, and preparing for the next attack. The Zarathi could only stare, amazed at the humans' resilience and dedication. Vera approached Sergeant Elena Cross. You saved our people today. I don't understand your strength, but I am grateful." Elena smiled beneath her helmet. "We don't give up. That's all you need to know." Above, the dropships hovered, ready for any new Krill assault. The humans had arrived from the smoke, as if from legend, and had already changed the course of the battle. For the first time in weeks, the Zarathi dared to hope, and as Commander Vera looked at the Terran forces, she knew one thing with certainty. These humans were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were loud, they were bold, and they were fearless. And they had come for the Zarathi. Not for reward, not for conquest, but simply because they could not ignore a cry for help. The Krill would return, stronger and more numerous. But now, the city of Zarathis had its guardians. The Terran Marines were here, and from the smoke, they would rise again. As the first part of the battle came to a close, the humans stood together. Calm, ready, and unyielding. The Zarathi, once doubtful, now followed them with hope in their hearts. And somewhere deep in the shadows of the ruined city, the Krill observed, realizing that these humans were unlike any opponent they had faced. They were about to learn the hard way that humans were not just fighters, they were legends in the making. The city of Zarathis was scarred but not broken. Fires still burned in the distance, and the smell of scorched metal and stone filled the air. The Krill, though temporarily pushed back, were not defeated. Commander Vera and her council knew that the robotic army would return with greater force, and this time, the Zarathi might not survive. But the Terran Marines were ready. Their dropships hovered above the city like dark birds, engines humming steadily. Captain Marcus Hale stood on the observation deck of the lead dropship, scanning the battlefield with sharp eyes. Smoke and debris blurred the edges of the city, but his vision was clear. Every human soldier under his command was trained for situations like this, for impossible odds, and they would rise, just as they had before. "Sergeant Cross, how are your squads holding?" Hale's voice came through the communicator. "All units are in position, sir," Elena replied. Her squad had cleared a block of Krill walkers and set up defensive points along the central street. "We're ready for the next wave." "Good," Hale said. "Remember, humans fight smart, not just hard." Keep your eyes open and trust each other. Below, in the streets, the humans moved with a precision that astounded the Zerathi. Private Jax Mercer and his team were clearing debris from the central square when a massive krill walker appeared over the horizon. Its metal legs struck the ground like thunder, and its red sensors swept the city. "Contact!" Jax shouted, dropping to one knee. His pulse rifle fired in controlled bursts, the energy bolt striking the krill's armored plating. Sparks flew, but the walker continued advancing. Sergeant Cross ran forward, leading a squad of Marines. "Flank it! Use the buildings for cover!" The humans moved quickly, coordinating with gestures and short commands. Unlike the krill, who followed a rigid program, humans adapted in real time. They deployed gravity grenades, small devices that created localized gravitational distortions. The walker stumbled, its massive legs twisting awkwardly. Explosions rocked the streets, throwing rubble into the air. The krill began to fall back, retreating temporarily. But more machines were approaching from the south. Meanwhile, Commander Veyra watched from a high platform. She had never seen combat like this. The humans were loud, reckless at times, and yet somehow unstoppable. They worked as a team, improvising constantly, turning the city itself into a weapon. One squad used a collapsed bridge to trap a group of krill drones, then detonated explosives to eliminate them. Another squad launched EMP charges, short-circuiting multiple robots at once. "The Terrans, they fight differently," Veyra whispered to Lyra, the young Zerathi engineer. "Not like us, like they are part of the chaos itself," Lyra nodded, still trembling from the first day of battle. "And yet, they are saving us. Ayus. 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 Ayus." Captain Hale moved his troops with calm authority. "Human ingenuity," he said to himself. "Improvisation wins wars." The krill had learned to expect predictable tactics. Humans were anything but predictable. They fought in small, agile squads, using the environment to their advantage. They climbed walls, vaulted over rubble, and struck from unexpected angles, and they never hesitated to save an alien civilian caught in the crossfire. In one street, a group of krill walkers cornered a Zerathi family. The humans moved fast. Jax Mercer leaped from a building ledge, landing on a krill drone and planting a small explosive. The robot toppled, shielding the family from incoming fire. Elena Cross directed her squad to push forward, clearing the street block by block. The battle raged for hours. Smoke rose like dark clouds, and the cries of robots and Zerathi echoed through the ruined city. Despite the chaos, the humans remained calm, their coordination almost hypnotic. Each move seemed spontaneous, but was part of a larger plan. A dance of fire and steel. As night fell, the krill launched a massive assault from the outskirts of the city. Hundreds of robotic soldiers marched forward, their weapons glowing ominously. The Zerathi began to panic. Many had never seen numbers like these, and their confidence wavered. Captain Hale saw the threat and took a decisive step. "Prepare the artillery drones," he ordered. Small hovering units armed with plasma cannons moved into the air, scanning the battlefield. They fired in precise sequences, targeting clusters of krill soldiers. Explosions lit up the night, illuminating the city in bursts of orange and red. Sergeant Cross's squad moved quickly to intercept krill reinforcements attempting to flank the humans. "Hold the line!" she shouted. Her Marines planted charges on the rooftops and created obstacles, slowing the robotic advance. In the chaos, Veyra realized something important. Humans did not just fight for victory, they fought to protect. They risked themselves for others without hesitation. Every rescue, every maneuver, every tactical decision was driven by loyalty and courage. The krill, relentless as ever, sent a massive walker directly into the central square, crushing everything in its path. Veyra felt a pang of fear. The humans were skilled, but could they survive this? Then, from above, a Terran dropship hovered, its cargo bay opened, and a squad of heavy infantry deployed. They were clad in reinforced exosuits, armed with plasma cannons and rocket launchers. Without a word, they fired, their weapons tearing through the walkers' armor. The ground shook as the massive machine fell, its sensors darkening. The Zerathi began to rally. Inspired by the humans, they picked up their own weapons with renewed determination. No longer paralyzed by fear, they fought alongside the Terrans. Energy beams and plasma bolts streaked through the night, the city becoming a chaotic battlefield where humans and aliens worked together seamlessly. In the midst of the battle, Jack spotted a group of Zerathi engineers trapped under debris near a collapsing spire. Without hesitation, he leaped into the rubble, lifting heavy stones with his exosuit strength. One by one, he pulled the engineers to safety, despite Krill drones firing at him. "You humans are unstoppable," Lyra whispered, watching the scene. Jack shrugged, a small smile visible beneath his helmet. "We just don't quit." Captain Hale coordinated a counterattack on the Krill reinforcements. He had identified their main command node in the city outskirts. A massive armored tower bristling with weapons. "Focus everything on that node," he ordered. "We take it down, and the rest of their forces will scatter." The humans and Zerathi worked together to execute the plan. Marines climbed buildings, planting explosives in precise locations. Zerathi energy cannons, guided by human calculations, struck weak points in the Krill tower. Finally, a coordinated strike from all sides brought the command node down in a massive explosion, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. The Krill forces faltered. Confusion spread among their ranks. The humans pressed forward, relentless. Every robot destroyed became a symbol of hope for the Zerathi. By dawn, the first full wave of Krill forces had been repelled. The city was battered, but alive. Terran Marines moved through the streets, tending to the injured and reinforcing defenses. The Zerathi now understood the full extent of what they had witnessed. Humans were not just fighters, they were legends. Commander Vera approached Captain Hale, her voice trembling with emotion. You saved us again." I cannot find words." Hale shook his head. "No one fights alone. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is all we do." Sergeant Cross came up behind Hale. "And we don't leave anyone behind." The Zerathi, inspired by the humans' courage, began to plan their own defenses for the next wave. The city was still under threat, but morale had shifted. Hope had returned, and with it, the determination to survive. Above the city, the Terran dropships hovered, ready for any new attacks. The humans had risen from the smoke once, and they would rise again if needed. The Krill had learned a dangerous lesson. These humans were unpredictable, fearless, and impossible to defeat with conventional tactics. For the first time, the Zerathi dared to believe they might survive the war. And as the sun rose over the ruined city, a golden light reflecting off shattered spires and burning streets, it illuminated a simple truth. The humans had changed everything. They had arrived when all hope seemed lost. They had fought when no one else could. And in doing so, they had proven why Terran Marines were feared and respected across the galaxy. The Krill were far from defeated. New waves would come. But the humans and their alien allies were ready. From the smoke, from the fire, from the chaos they had risen. And this was only the beginning. The sun had barely risen over the battered city of Zerathis. Yet the calm was only an illusion. The Krill were returning. And this time, their army was larger, faster, and more ruthless than ever. Smoke still lingered over the streets, and the ruins of previous battles glimmered in the morning light. Commander Vera looked out over the city from a high spire, her luminous eyes scanning the horizon. The humans had saved them once. She prayed they would do it again. From the sky, the distant hum of massive Krill dropships signaled the beginning of a new wave. Captain Marcus Hale stood at the edge of a hovering dropship. Observing the enemy forces, the Terran Marines were ready. Every soldier, every weapon, and every squad was in position. The city itself had been transformed into a defensive maze of barricades, traps, and coordinated firing points. "Marines," Hale addressed his teams through the communicator. "Today, we do more than fight. Today we show the galaxy what humans can do. We protect our allies. We protect the helpless. And we do not leave anyone behind." The squad leaders repeated the message to their teams, their voices firm with determination. Sergeant Elena Cross rallied her unit. "Stay sharp. Watch each other's backs. Move fast. Fight smart. Make every shot count." The first Krill walkers entered the city, their metallic feet shaking the ground. But they were not prepared for what awaited them. The humans and Zerathi were working together like a single, fluid force. Zerathi energy beams created barriers and fire traps, while Marines advanced with agility and tactical precision. Private Jax Mercer sprinted down a street with a group of Zerathi engineers behind him. His exosuit allowed him to leap over rubble and fallen structures. "Follow me!" he shouted. Together, they cleared a path, taking down Krill drones that attempted to block their escape. Meanwhile, Captain Hale had identified the Krill command hub, a massive metallic fortress on the outskirts of the city. Its surface was covered with weapons and sensors, and inside, the Krill leader coordinated the assault. Hale knew that taking out the hub would be the key to victory. "Sergeant Cross, take your squad and create a diversion. We hit the hub directly," Hale commanded. Elena nodded. "Understood, sir. We'll make them focus on us." Her squad moved quickly, firing, jumping, and planting explosives across the city streets. The Krill shifted their focus, sending more forces after the diversionary team. This opened a path for Hale and his main force to approach the hub. The journey was dangerous. Krill walkers and drones patrolled every street. Mines and energy traps were everywhere. But the Terrans adapted, as they always did. Gravity grenades toppled walkers, EMP blasts disabled drones, and plasma rifles cut through armored robots. Every step was calculated, but still daring. Inside the command hub, the Krill leader noticed the humans approaching. His sensors flickered as alarms blared. "Humans. They are impossible," he said to his remaining forces. He ordered the hub's defenses to fire in full intensity, hoping to destroy them before they reached the core. Hale's squad charged forward, dodging energy blasts and collapsing walkways. The battle inside the hub was intense. Explosions shook the walls, and sparks flew as Terran Marines fought Krill soldiers in close combat. Sergeant Cross joined the fray, her squad cutting off reinforcements and clearing paths for Hale. At one point, Jax Mercer found himself face to face with a massive Krill enforcer. The robot towered over him, swinging its heavy arms. Jax used his exosuit's enhanced speed, dodging and weaving while firing precise shots. With a leap, he planted an explosive on the enforcer's back, and it collapsed in a shower of sparks. The human's courage inspired the Zerathi who had followed them. Alien warriors, once fearful, now fought with newfound determination. They used their energy weapons in coordination with Terran tactics, creating a synergy no enemy had ever faced. The Krill, for all their power, were overwhelmed by the unpredictability, speed, and creativity of the humans. Finally, Hale reached the hub's central chamber. The Krill leader stood there, an enormous machine with glowing red sensors and countless weapons. "You will not survive," it growled in a synthesized voice. Hale calmly raised his plasma cannon. "We don't just survive, we protect." The battle that followed was intense and cinematic. Humans and Krill clashed, the room shaking from every blow. The Krill leader fired massive energy beams, but Hale and his Marines dodged and used the environment to their advantage. Explosives ripped through walls, creating openings for attacks. The humans fought with determination that seemed almost superhuman. Sergeant Cross and her squad joined Hale in the central chamber. Together, they launched a coordinated attack. Jax planted the final explosive on the Krill leader's core. "For Zerathis," he shouted. The device detonated, sending a shockwave through the chamber. The Krill leader collapsed, its systems failing. Outside, the Krill forces faltered. With their command hub destroyed, coordination broke down. Marines and Zerathi fighters pushed forward, clearing remaining robots in the city. The once devastated streets echoed with victory cries. Commander Vera approached Captain Hale, tears in her eyes. You, humans, you have saved us. All of us. I cannot thank you enough. Hale shook his head. No thanks needed. We fight for what is right. That is enough, Sergeant Cross added. And remember, we never leave anyone behind. The Zerathi citizens, inspired by the bravery of humans, began repairing their city. Humans worked alongside them, sharing knowledge, helping rebuild, and teaching ways to strengthen their defenses. The Krill threat had been defeated for now, but the bond between Terrans and Zerathi had been forged in fire and courage. In the aftermath, Hale and his Marines prepared to leave. Dropships hovered, ready to depart. Commander Vera stood on the highest spire, watching the humans. We begged for help, and they became legends, she whispered. Before leaving, Hale addressed the city one last time. Remember this. Courage is not measured by strength or weapons. It is measured by the heart. Fight for each other. Protect each other. And you will survive. As the dropships rose into the sky, the Zerathi cheered. The humans had arrived when all hope seemed lost, fought with skill and bravery, and ensured that the Zerathi civilization survived. The Krill, and any who dared challenge humanity again, would remember this day. The Terran Marines had proven what humans could do. They could rise from the smoke, face impossible odds, and change the course of history. And somewhere, deep in the shadows of the galaxy, the Krill would think twice before underestimating humans again. The city of Zerathis began to heal, and its people had a new legend to tell. A legend of humans who came from the smoke, fearless, determined, and unstoppable. The stars above the planet shone brighter that night, as if acknowledging the bravery of a species that had become something more than survival. They had become heroes. The humans had come. The humans had fought. And the humans had won. From that day on, the Zerathi would remember. Hope had arrived on Earth's warriors, and the galaxy would never forget the Terran Marines who rose from the smoke.